Good morning, everyone. Welcome to CalRecycle's monthly public meeting for June. I'm Ken DeRosa. I'm the Chief Deputy Director here at the department. And for those who joined us last month, you may have noticed some significant changes to the layout, design, and content of the public meeting. We are once again keeping with that tradition. Well, I guess it's a tradition now. We've done it 2 times, so there you go. So I'm going to turn it to Maria West, our Deputy Director for the Office of Public Affairs, to tell you a little bit more about the changes for those who perhaps did not experience them last month. Maria?
Thanks so much, Ken. If you watched last month's public meeting, then you have seen our new format. CalRecycle is working to serve you better and with communication that is as accessible, inclusive, plain language, and relevant as possible. Under the guidance of our new director, Wagner, we are updating our public meetings, which are a holdover from CalRecycle's previous life as the Waste Board. The Waste Board had legal mandates and decision-making processes required in meetings. CalRecycle does not have those mandates, but wants to continue and increase our transparency for stakeholders and for the general public as well. The goal of our new format is to set a context for the critical work that CalRecycle does and that many of you do, and to make important announcements. CalRecycle commits to making sure that all information you need is provided either in this format or through our website and listserv emails. We are not going to communicate less, but we are going to communicate a little differently. The meetings will be shorter and involve multimedia communication. Today, you will see a more visual PowerPoint, a couple of videos produced by CalRecycle's Public Affairs Office, and a new host. Former KCRA reporter Linda Muma has been livening up CalRecycle's public communications. Now she's bringing her considerable skills to our public meetings. Good morning, Linda, and thanks.
Good morning, Maria. I'm happy to be here to help facilitate the meetings and also bring awareness to CalRecycle programs, policies, and initiatives. Before we get started today, it's important to mention for those who wish to submit questions and comments on an agenda item, to please send them to the public comments portal. You can find the CalRecycle homepage. Just click on public meeting in the left-hand column, and the text near the bottom of the page, click public comment portal, and then from the drop-down menu, you can select the first option, monthly public meeting, to type your name, your email address, the subject or agenda item, and then submit your question or comment there. And please keep them brief. Make sure to indicate which agenda item you are referring to so that staff can direct them to the appropriate person for a response, and we will address them during the public comment period a little bit later this morning. Our first agenda item this morning is the director's report, and so I'll turn it over to Director Rachel Maki-Wagner. Good morning, Rachel.
Thank you so much, Linda, and welcome everyone. Happy June 15th. It is such an exciting day in the state of California as we are reopening our economy and reopening our state with the greatest levels of optimism and excitement and hopefulness of coming out of the pandemic bigger, stronger, and more resilient. We are making changes here at CalRecycle to better serve the people of the state of California. The last year has put the state and everyone in it in a position to be more at home and more on the internet and connecting over the internet and other telecommunication forms. And we are really using this as an opportunity to maximize our visual content here in the public meeting. So along with the changes that you are seeing to our public meeting, and there will be additional changes in the coming months as the state opens up more and more, we are making changes here within the department to better serve the people of the state of California. And one of the big changes that is upon the direction of the governor and hopefully ratification by the legislature is building the circular economy here in the state of California. And the first and foremost action that CalRecycle will be taking at the direction of Governor Newsom is to build the Office of Innovation. So with that, I want to turn it over to Linda to play a video for you about the circular economy and what we're hoping to build here in the state of California. I just want to say a huge thank you to Linda Muma and Lance and Maria for the amazing content that they've produced for this public meeting, the last public meeting. They've gone to a great deal of effort to present you with this content. So thank you all so very much.
The trash polluting our oceans and warming our planet is a problem we can no longer ignore. California throws away 48 million tons of materials every year. Resources are extracted from our planet, designed to be used once, then dumped into our landfills forever, filling limited space, contaminating our air, and sometimes seeping into the groundwater and soil, further polluting our most vulnerable communities. California set a goal to reduce the human health and climate impacts of landfilling by reducing or recycling 75% of our trash by 2020. But then, countries overseas stopped taking our recyclables and garbage that came with it. The use of single-use products skyrocketed, made worse by COVID-19. Our recycling rate dropped to 37%. Right now, our current economic model relies on mining and cutting down resources, sending them on a one-way disposable journey from manufacturing plant to trash pile. Waste warming our planet, contributing to climate change, and polluting our land, water, even the air we breathe. With California already experiencing the devastating impacts of the climate crisis, it's time for the state to do what it does best: innovate. A new movement is already underway in California, and it's now gaining momentum.
We're seeing incredible innovation in technology in the recycling space.
It's called a circular economy, a system in which every product and resource, whether it's food, clothes, buildings, or vehicles, everything is designed to last as long as possible, and at the end of its use, cycle or loop back into the system for a useful next life. A new model, reducing and even eliminating waste, creating green jobs, and cutting down on greenhouse gases.
The idea is to create living wage jobs while protecting the environment.
California wants to be a leader in creating this remanufacturing circular economy. CalRecycle already oversees programs to recycle products like bottles, cans, mattresses, used oil, and paint. The department is also working with local communities to expand food and yard waste collection programs statewide by January 1st, 2022 for recycling into green products like compost and clean energy.
The advantage of making new products out of recycled materials in state is that it happens under California's strong environmental protection rules and strong labor standards.
CalRecycle is creating an Office of Innovation that brings together the department's current market development efforts with the Governor's Office of Business and Economic Development, or GoBiz, to recruit and support businesses developing green technologies to reuse, recycle, and remanufacture products.
This new office will really get into the nitty-gritty of setting up the recycling infrastructure to get new products made from those materials that we've been collecting.
The Office of Innovation will streamline business processes, help overcome siting and permitting barriers, and connect businesses with loans, grants, tax incentives, and other financial support, combining state services with CalRecycle programs that have already helped a number of businesses.
California is home to the world's first paper bottle manufacturer. We've also seen companies come up with cardboard alternatives to six-pack rings and replacements for plastic film.
Support for green innovation that builds a circular economy will create green jobs with less pollution and trash.
California is already a climate leader, and so it makes sense that we'd be a leader in creating the circular economy too.
Thank you so much to Matt and Linda and our entire OPA team that produced that video. We are so excited here at CalRecycle. We are rethinking and reimagining how we do our jobs and how we contribute to the state of California we are reimagining our view of our role in managing waste to become not so much management of waste, but rethinking recycling, reuse, and our resources. The team here at CalRecycle is so excited to present all of the content that we have for you today, from grants and loans to the activities of enforcement and other activities that we do in California communities to truly serve the people of the state. I want to thank again Linda for her production of that video, and for leading us in our new format here at the CalRecycle public meeting. And thank all of you for participating today, and really hope that you enjoyed that video and get a lot out of today's meeting. So thank you, Linda.
Thank you so much, Rachel. Moving on now to our second agenda item, grants and loans portion of the agenda. Deputy Director Matt Hennigan joins us with some information on some new funding awards to help clean up California and also move us closer to our climate and circular reuse economy goals. So good morning, Matt.
Good morning, Linda, and thanks everyone for joining us today. I, for one, certainly enjoyed that video about the market development efforts that are shaping up here at CalRecycle. And one of our most long-standing and most successful market development efforts is the Recycling Market Development Loan Program. And we're going to discuss one company that's receiving some loans today that will create 5 new jobs and turn 5,000 tons of otherwise landfilled HDPE plastic into slip sheets and plastic pallets that are used in shipping materials. So a little background about this successful program. California created the RMDZ program in the early 1990s. We were the first state in the nation to couple established economic development practices with waste reduction efforts. Since then, communities have worked with CalRecycle to establish 39 recycling market development zones statewide. Businesses within those zones that use materials from the waste stream to manufacture new products and secondary manufacturing feedstocks are eligible to receive low interest loans and technical assistance, marketing assistance from the state, as well as important resources, business incentives from local governments, like siting and permitting assistance and financial incentives. And it's that partnership between the local governments and CalRecycle that is the center of the RMDZ program. Since 1993, the RMDZ loan program has funded 190 loans to 133 different businesses, lending more than $150 million to build the recycling economy. Now today, CalRecycle is approving 2 RMDZ loans to a company called Repsco, totaling $1,080,000. One of those loans is for working capital to meet a projected increase in manufacturing costs due to an increase in sales. So this is a good news story, right? Sales are increasing, and so the company will need to be buying more of those raw materials you see being delivered there, hiring staff, and getting ready to increase production. The second loan will help Repsco purchase new equipment like computer servers, but also grinders and extrusion machinery to process the HDPE, not just from containers, but also from things like piping and plastic lumber. You know, we often hear the criticism that things like plastic lumber are not circular economy because the lumber then isn't recycled at end of life. But here's an example of a company taking plastic lumber that was made from recycled plastic and recycling it yet again. These upgrades will help Repsco create 5 new jobs and double the amount of recycled plastic that they use from today's 4,000 tons to 9,000 tons per year. And those slip sheets that they're creating from the recycled plastic will also themselves be recyclable, replacing wooden pallets that are often disposed after 1 or 2 uses. So this RFA was delegated to me and I have approved it, but look forward to any comments at that portion of our meeting. Okay, moving on to some grant awards to the local conservation corps. all 14 certified local conservation corps applied for funding this year. The total funding is $24,781,000. And you can see on the slide some of the local cleanup, collection, and recycling programs conducted by the corps. These programs help clean up our communities and reduce waste, but they also help our youth gain valuable career development skills in the process. And so it's a fantastic program for the youth as well as for the environment. Certified programs are located in the North Bay, in San Francisco. We've got Civic Corps in Oakland, the Sequoia Conservation Corps in Tulare County, San Jose, Sacramento. There's also a local corps in the Central Valley, Fresno, Kern, the Inland Empire, Los Angeles, Long Beach, Orange County, and the San Diego area conservation corps. So those local corps were created under the Beverage Container Recycling and Litter Reduction Act back when that was enacted to support beverage container recycling. But since those days, they have expanded their activities to include cleanups, like those tires you see being recycled, as well as used oil collection, waste tires, and covered electronic waste roundups as well. So we are excited to continue our partnership with the local conservation corps. And we thank them for the good work they're doing for California's youth. The next grant program that we'll be discussing is one of CalRecycle's illegal dumping mitigation efforts. So this is the Farm and Ranch Grant Eligibility Criteria item. Don't let the name fool you. All kinds of rural properties are eligible for this. It doesn't have to be a farm or a ranch. And so if you know local governments or sites with illegal dumping problems in rural areas, this is a great resource for them. As with all our grant programs, we regularly assess the eligibility criteria and evaluation process for applicants. This program offers $1 million in annual funding to communities and tribes to help clear and also prevent illegal dumping on farm and ranch land. You can see the results from one of our past grant projects here. Cleanup sites are often located in concealed areas, not highly trafficked, so they're seen as easy targets for illegal dumping. Since 1997, CalRecycle has awarded nearly $13 million to clear more than 1,000 sites of things like tires, appliances, vehicles, construction and demolition debris, and other trash. Grant criteria for this program is pretty well defined in statute, so we're not announcing any big changes to the criteria. Eligible applicants are local governments, local resource conservation districts, and also federally recognized tribes. So private landowners can partner with those entities to receive these grants. Applicants with illegal dump sites that pose the biggest threat to public health and safety receive priority for the funding. We expect the applications for the first of 3 grant cycles to be due in mid-August. So we keep these cycles kind of perpetually open. This slide is just a reminder of the grant programs that are currently accepting applications right now. So our oil payment program is accepting applications. We're also accepting applications for our tire incentive program, which provides incentive payments to businesses that use recycled crumb rubber in molded products or in any type of product, really. That as a substitute for virgin rubber or a substitute for plastic or other raw materials, the idea here is to increase demand for crumb rubber and increase tire recycling. The tire-derived aggregate program is also accepting applications. So if your local government is doing stormwater infiltration galleries, landslide repair, or any other public works, sometimes retaining walls, things like that, that need lightweight aggregate, this program covers part of the cost of that aggregate and also the associated engineering. So it's a real win-win for local governments. They get part of their project paid for and get to do it in an environmentally friendly way. So you can find out more about all these funding programs at calrecycle.ca.gov/funding. Now passing it back to Linda for a 1383 update.
Yes, thank you so much for all of those updates, Matt. Our next agenda item is a Senate Bill 1383 update. Organic waste reduction is one of the fastest and easiest ways that we can impact climate change and move our state to a more circular economy. CalRecycle Policy Director Zoe Heller is here with some new tools and some new resources to help communities comply with upcoming organic waste recycling and edible food recovery requirements. Good morning, Zoe.
Good morning, Linda. Senate Bill 1383, passed in 2016, is part of California's larger strategy to combat climate change. The law requires jurisdictions to implement new programs to reduce landfill disposal of food scraps, yard waste, paper, and other organic material in an effort to slash landfill methane emissions. CalRecycle continues to develop new resources and planning tools for jurisdictions to assist with implementation and to cut some costs to local governments. On June 7th, we held a webinar to show cities and counties how to use the new Organic Waste Recycling Capacity Planning Calculator. CalRecycle developed this tool to assist local infrastructure capacity planning to ensure jurisdictions have enough capacity to manage their generated organic waste. A June 3rd webinar focused on edible food recovery capacity planning tools, which will help jurisdictions determine if they have sufficient infrastructure and capacity to recover the amount of edible food that is estimated to be disposed by mandated food donors. On May 18th, we held a webinar focused on how jurisdictions could identify Tier 1 and Tier 2 commercial edible food generators. This will not only help with capacity planning, but also with other aspects of 1383 implementation. These webinar recordings will be made available online in the near future. Please note the tools were developed by CalRecycle for informational and example purposes only. Use of these tools are optional and are not a regulatory requirement. We're also developing new web pages, including one focused on guidance for elected officials. It outlines the health, economic, and environmental benefits of SB 1383. It also details the importance of planning, the requirements for local communities, the need for identifying staff responsibilities, and the enforcement process for noncompliance. We're constantly adding more tools and guidance, so make sure you're signed up for the SLCP listserv. You can find all of these pages, tools, and resources by going to our short-lived Climate Pollutant website. Please continue to reach out to CalRecycle for any technical assistance regarding SB 1383. We're always available for meetings and presentations.
Thank you so much for those updates, Zoe. As a reminder, for those who may who may just have logged on this morning and are now joining us and would like to submit a question or a comment on an agenda item, to do so through the public comments portal. You can see the instructions there on your screen. Go to the CalRecycle webpage and select public meeting. In the text, click on the public meeting portal link near the bottom of the page. And then in the drop-down menu, select monthly public meeting and type in your name, your email address, the subject or agenda item, and then submit your question or comment. Please keep your submissions brief and make sure to indicate which agenda item you are addressing so that we can direct your message to the correct person. Ken and Zoe will be taking your questions and your comments during the public comment period coming up a little later this morning. Now to an update on the wildfire debris removal program. Disaster debris from the historic 2020 climate fires is now cleared from more than 90% of properties enrolled in the statewide cleanup program. Let's check in with Deputy Director Tina Walker on the progress of the statewide cleanup efforts. Good morning, Tina.
Good morning. Thank you, Linda. With the help of our local, state, and federal partners, CalRecycle is nearly complete with the largest portion of our work, the removal of ash and debris that were the remains of nearly 3,800 family homes. This is the most geographically diverse consolidated debris removal project we've executed. Spanning 25 counties, the project is divided into 4 operational branches, and each branch is now approaching completion. Statewide, 94% of residential parcels are clear of structural debris, and in 10 of these counties, the disaster debris removal is 100% complete. This doesn't mean there still isn't work to be done before rebuilding can begin. Only 33% of the properties have been through all the critical steps necessary to be returned to local governments and property owners for rebuilding. Public Information Officer Chris McSwain has more on the steps to return a property safely to homeowners.
In the aftermath of wildfire disasters, local governments work alongside state and federal partners to determine the best path forward for communities to rebuild. Soon after a wildfire is extinguished, the Department of Toxic Substances Control, or another designated agency, visits each residential property to remove household hazardous waste such as car batteries, chemicals, and propane tanks. In most cases, CalRecycle is then called on to oversee the safe removal of ash, metal, and concrete that were once family homes. Staffed by both private and public sector scientists and engineers, the program ensures debris is removed and managed in a way that protects workers, the environment, and the community. Under the Consolidated Debris Removal Program, state-managed contractors inspect participating properties to make sure there are no hazards for the debris removal crews, including freestanding chimneys or asbestos. Crews also verify the right equipment can efficiently be mobilized to the property. The site assessment also includes checking for evidence of endangered species, historical artifacts, or stream beds that could be disturbed. Once debris removal crews arrive at a property, they work swiftly to clear concrete, metals, ash, and other debris, taking care to keep dust and ash from becoming airborne or washing into the groundwater, both on-site and while trucked to end-use facilities. Once principal debris removal is completed, critical steps must take place before the property can be returned to the homeowner for rebuilding. These steps include testing the soil for any remaining contamination, putting erosion control measures in place, and removing any fire-damaged trees that are a danger to the public. The final step is to inspect the property to ensure that contractors have completed all work that will allow wildfire survivors to safely rebuild their homes.
Thanks to the collaboration with local officials, Cal OES, and our contractors, nearly every property will be back in the hands of homeowners by the end of summer.
Thank you so much for those updates this morning, Tina. Meeting California's climate and waste reduction goals would not be possible without the hard work of our cities and our counties. They're responsible for implementing the local programs to use less, recycle more, and meet state environmental protection standards. CalRecycle is responsible for overseeing how well jurisdictions are implementing these programs. Staff does this by conducting site visits, analyzing documentation, and through reviews of jurisdictions' annual reports, which include disposal information and self-assessments of their programs. CalRecycle conducts more intensive jurisdictional reviews every 2 or 4 years, depending on the jurisdiction's past performance. The department also has the authority to conduct anytime reviews to make sure that cities and counties are in compliance with mandatory commercial recycling and mandatory commercial organics recycling requirements. Deputy Director Matt Hennigan is back with the results of CalRecycle's latest compliance investigations. Welcome back, Matt.
Yeah, thank you, Linda. Cities and counties across California are implementing robust commercial recycling and commercial organics recycling programs. Through the annual review process, local assistance and market development branch staff did identify implementation gaps for programs in 5 jurisdictions. Those jurisdictions are Folsom, Glendora, Monrovia, Newport Beach, and the unincorporated areas of Shasta County. The most common gaps that were found were high levels of non-compliance from regulated businesses and ineffective annual follow-up from the jurisdiction to ensure that all of the businesses that were not recycling get started recycling. You can find a more detailed summary of those program gaps and an overview of how each of the 5 jurisdictions plans to address those gaps linked in today's agenda. So find that agenda and click on the link for all those details. Some of the solutions suggested by the local governments are better identifying businesses who fall under the recycling requirements, enacting local ordinances or updating local ordinances to require mandatory recycling collection services, and the establishment of an exemption process so that businesses that should be considered exempt and therefore not counted in these non-compliance rates can be, accounted for correctly. Local Assistance and Market Development Branch staff will closely monitor these local programs over the next 6 months. And the jurisdictions that fail to make adequate progress may be referred to our Jurisdiction Compliance Unit for further investigation. So this item is delegated to me, and I plan to sign it, pending any public comment on that issue. Moving on, I also want to note that the city of Rialto amended its countywide siting element, which describes areas in the city that can be used for developing new disposal facilities. Rialto added the Rialto Bioenergy Facility and met all of the requirements for doing so. Branch Chief Kara Morgan signed the request for approval on that document. You can find that update to the siting element and more details on, again, linked through the today's meeting agenda that you can find on CalRecycle's homepage by selecting public meetings and then clicking on today's meeting date. You download the meeting agenda, and then there are hyperlinks to these documents.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that, Matt. If local jurisdictions fail to meet state requirements and don't take the necessary steps to get there, the Local Assistance and Market Development Branch may refer them to CalRecycle's Jurisdictional Compliance Unit for further investigation. Deputy Director Mark DeBee joins us now with that information. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning. Today we have one item in this section of the agenda, the consideration of the City of Tracy's completion of the compliance order 18-004. The city has waived the public hearing requirements, and I'd like to provide a brief overview of the city's efforts. As background, and as shown on the slides, during the department's compliance evaluation in 2018, the department found that the city did not adequately implement its mandatory commercial recycling program and issued a compliance order. Since the issuance of the compliance order, the city undertook the following efforts. For the requirements regarding identification, prior to the issuance of the compliance order, the city had not identified the number of businesses and multifamily complexes required to participate in the city's mandatory commercial recycling program. However, by the end of the compliance order, the city had developed a process to identify the businesses and the multifamily complexes. To address monitoring requirements, the city developed and implemented a system to monitor businesses and the multifamily complexes on ongoing compliance with the city's program. To address issuance of notifications and non-compliance requirements, the city developed and mailed notifications of non-compliance to non-compliant businesses and multifamily complexes. The city will continue to send notifications of non-compliance on an annual basis at a minimum until it reaches full compliance. Finally, to address education and outreach requirements, the city developed and implemented steps to promote the city's program requirements. The city continues its education through distribution of materials during regular site visits and through the city's yearly business license renewal process. Staff have reported that the city has been able to document business compliance of 76.5% and documented multifamily complexes compliance of 64.2%. This has resulted in an increase in the overall diversion of materials from within the city. Yesterday, we received a letter from the city of Tracy, and I would like to read the letter. This is from the Director of Public Works, Don Scholl. The city of Tracy would like to take a moment to express our gratitude to the CalRecycle Jurisdiction Compliance Unit during the compliance period. We would especially like to thank Jocelyn Trejo Arce for her guidance and support during the process. Her knowledge and direction allowed us to complete the process to meet compliance. Though through our challenges in obtaining and consolidating information, everyone we worked with at CalRecycle were polite, patient, and worked diligently to assure our success. We appreciate everyone's assistance with implementing our process through the compliance period and beyond. Sincerely, Don Chol. Thank you very much for that letter and the appreciation you have for our staff efforts. So I have reviewed the detailed staff report and the supporting documentation, which can be found in the link and the meeting's agenda posted on our website. And based on that review, I find that the City of Tracy has complied with the compliance order and has made and is making a good faith effort to comply with the requirements of the mandatory commercial recycling law. The city will now be referred back to our LAM staff for continued support and monitoring. So I'm going to move on now for an update on our permitting and emergency waiver requests that are before the Department for Action. As a reminder, solid waste facility permits are issued by the local enforcement agencies. The permits are limited in scope and CalRecycle must concur in the issuance of the permits. On the other hand, waste tire permits are issued by CalRecycle, and there are two types of waste tire permits. Finally, emergency waivers to solid waste facility permits can be approved during an emergency and recovery from disasters. The local enforcement agency approves the waiver and CalRecycle reviews them. Waivers require reporting on the materials handled during the emergency. And now I will ask Paulina Lawrence, our branch chief for permitting, to provide an update on the permits and waivers in process.
Thank you, Mark, and good morning, everyone. First of all, I'm going to announce those permit actions that the department has issued or concurred on. The department concurred on May 26, 2021, a revised solid waste facilities permit for Tollen Road Landfill. This is located in Ventura County. The permit action needed date was July 5th, 2021. The department issued on June 10th, 2021, a revised solid waste facilities permit for Bertolati Transfer Station and Recycling Center. This facility is located in Stanislaus County. Action was needed July 17th, 2021. This particular facility is within CalRecycle's purview as enforcement agency authority. So up next are those permit items that are new to the agenda. We have Palomar Transfer Station, Inc., which is located at 5960 El Camino Real in Carlsbad, which is in San Diego County. This is a modified solid waste permit action, and the action date needed is July 23rd, 2021. Preliminary review of the permit package indicates the following proposed changes: removal of the design capacity on the first page of the permit, and then update to the assessor parcel number, and then lastly, updates to the transfer processing report. Next up is the City of Berkeley Solid Waste Management Center and Transfer Station. This is located at 1201 2nd Street in Berkeley, California, in the City of Berkeley. This is a revised solid waste facilities permit. Action is needed July 31st, 2021. Preliminary review of the permit package indicates the following proposed changes: increase in the permitted tonnage from 560 tons per day to 620 tons per day, and then increase in the operating hours from 3 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. Monday through Friday, and 3 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Saturday and Sunday. Lastly, there will be updates to the permit findings and conditions, and these will be incorporated into the transfer processing report. This facility is located also within CalRecycle's enforcement agency jurisdictional authority. All continuing permits are listed in CalRecycle's monthly meeting agenda, and you can see them today in that agenda, and then also on the slide shown. Currently, CalRecycle does not have any new waivers or changes to any emergency or waivers from the May public meeting. Thank you, Mark, and now back to Linda.
Thank you so much, Paulina, and to Mark. In addition to permitting tire storage facilities, CalRecycle enforces tire management laws and also works to support safe new uses for recycled tires. Take a quick look at this video on how California began turning a program material into a resource for new businesses.
California produces more than 51 million waste tires a year. Up until a few decades ago, piles of illegally dumped tires polluted our state, sometimes catching fire, burning deep inside the pile.
Because tires have such a low conductivity, once a tire gets hot enough to burn, it's actually pretty hard to cool down.
In 1998, an employee clearing weeds at a property illegally storing about 7 million tires in San Joaquin County sparked one of the largest tire fires in our nation's history. Large plumes of toxic black smoke from the Tracy tire fire released dangerous chemicals like cyanide and carbon monoxide, while it burned for more than 2 years.
It was really a wake-up call for California that something had to be done.
After several more massive tire fires, California turned to waste tire management and recycling, strengthening the decade-old Tire Recycling Act in 2000 to put waste tires to better use.
CalRecycle's role is to find new ways to recycle tires to prevent them from being either illegally dumped or thrown into a landfill.
California now tracks the storage and movement of used tires and supports recycling and market development to encourage the use of products made from recycled tires.
CalRecycle promotes lots of tire-derived products, but we have a pretty extensive catalog online that shows everything that a waste tire can become.
CalRecycle's Tire Incentive Program provides financial incentives to eligible manufacturers that make new products from old tires.
Two of the products that my team promotes include rubberized asphalt concrete and tire-derived aggregate.
TDA, used as vibration mitigation under light rail, has saved the state millions of dollars while it absorbs sound and allows for a smoother ride through neighborhoods.
When you use TDA, you're actually solving engineering problems.
Rubberized asphalt concrete blends recycled tires and asphalt to create a more cost-effective, durable, and environmentally friendly alternative to traditional paving materials. Other tire-derived products use ground-up recycled tires mixed with other materials to create products like flooring, roofing, traffic control devices, and pathways.
In a lot of ways, waste tire products outperform conventional materials, but using tires can often save money as well.
In 2019, these innovative solutions helped California recycle more than 19 million waste tires, or about 37% into new recycled products. California has made great strides in finding better uses for tires, but with 42% or 21.5 million tires being burned for tire-derived fuel either within the state or shipped overseas primarily to Asia, and more than 9 million tires still buried in landfills every year,
we still have a lot of work to do.
There's more work on the road ahead.
And we wanted to give a special thanks to Information Officer Sid Fong for working very hard and putting that video together for us. Now, under California's waste tire management law, CalRecycle must adopt this and submit the 5-year tire plan to the legislature with proposed budget allocations like grants, loans, and contracts. And that plan must be updated every 2 years. Deputy Director Matt Hennigan is back for consideration of the latest 5-year tire plan. Matt?
Yeah, thank you, Linda. The 11th edition of the 5-year tire plan covers fiscal year 2021-22 through 2025-26. The 5-year tire plan is a great resource for anyone interested in this material stream. The plan includes elements on waste tire enforcement, waste tire remediation and cleanup, the waste tire hauler and manifest system, tire research, market development efforts like you saw just now, and we put a special focus on the California-Mexico border region and the activities there that are performed in conjunction with Cal EPA. A virtual workshop on the tire plan was held back in November of 2020. And due to that special border region focus, we included simultaneous Spanish translation, and we're able to get great feedback in both English and Spanish from stakeholders, and updated the plan as a result of that input. We've added some innovative research projects in the coming years, such as examining the bearing capacity for tire-derived aggregate to make it easier for engineers to incorporate into projects. There's a TDA project right there. We're also researching the use of tire-derived aggregate in stormwater infiltration galleries to filter rainwater before it goes to lakes and streams, specifically to remove microplastics and, ironically, tire wear particles, which wear off tires as they're used on cars. Some of the Caltrans-led research that's being conducted will explore the cleaning properties of open-graded rubber-modified asphalt in sensitive aquatic environments. Again, having the pavement be the solution to pollution coming off of cars before they reach sensitive streams. We'll also be evaluating the performance of rubber-modified asphalt that has plastic incorporated into it as well. We're also planning an update of the tire devulcanization study. Devulcanization is kind of the holy grail of tire recycling. If we could get it back to its constituent raw materials, that would make it much easier to recycle. 9 new activities were added to the border element. You can read more about those in the RFA, which of course, again, is linked to in today's agenda. The total spending projection for the 5-year period is more than $200 million. Of course, that's subject to appropriation and revenues from the tire fund. The plan takes effect on July 1st, or whenever the funding is subject to the governor signing the budget. This item is delegated to both me and Mark DeBee for adoption. Then it will go to Cal EPA and the governor's office for approval. So the draft that you see online is for you all to comment on. I think we're going to accept comments for about a week after this meeting, to give you all time to read and digest and consider before we finalize this thing and move it on up the chain. So look forward to your engagement. Mark, do you have any comments you want to make about the 5-year tire plan?
I do not, Matt. Thank you. Good overview, and we'll look forward to any comments we get to see if we need to make some adjustments. Thank you so much.
Yep, and thank you to all the stakeholders for their continued engagement on this. We have another exciting tire-related item. We have a scope of work for a new contract with Chico State to do research on new ways to recycle tires. So decades of research supported by CalRecycle have helped develop rubberized asphalt concrete and tire-derived aggregate as materials that are used worldwide now. This research has led to over 800 CalRecycle supported, that means we supported them with grants, rubberized asphalt concrete and tire-derived aggregate construction projects. We regularly work with researchers in the state, including CSU Chico. They have a fantastic pavement research facility up there. On civil engineering and related tire research, the professors at CSU Chico are nationally recognized for their work in this area. Today's new contract will give us access to CSU's robust engineering and materials testing lab. We'll be able to make asphalt samples, perform complex analyses, and perform quality control of field samples. In addition to supporting our grantees, we can better explore emerging technologies like new mix designs for formulas for rubberized asphalt concrete, the potential incorporation of fishing net material into rubberized asphalt concrete. That's fishing nets make up about 50% of the ocean plastic. Some folks have worked out a way to incorporate this polymer material and actually not just get it out of the ocean, but recycle it into roadways. So that's one of the innovative research projects that we'll be able to support with this relatively modest amount of funding for this contract. So I have approved this RFA, and the interagency agreement with Cal State is currently in development with our contract staff. And so thank you so much to the tire research team for advancing the world of tire recycling with this new contract. Back to you, Linda.
Thank you so much, Matt, for all of those updates. As a reminder, if you'd like to submit a question or a comment on an agenda item this morning, to please do so through the public comment portal. You can see the instructions there on your screen. From the CalRecycle homepage, select public meeting. In the text, click on public meeting portal, and then in the drop-down menu, select monthly public meeting. Make sure to include your name, email address, and subject or agenda item. Also, please keep your submission brief and to make sure to indicate which agenda item you are addressing so that Ken and Zoe can direct them to the correct person during the public comment period coming up in just a little bit. Moving on to the waste characterization study update, thanks to California's work on waste tires, this material is now less than 1% of our state's overall waste stream. We know that because of our frequent waste characterization studies, quantifying materials into landfills helps California establish waste reduction and recycling priorities. It also helps us determine the baselines and to gauge the progress of many of our programs. Policy Director Zoe Heller is back with an update on the 2 waste characterization studies in progress right now. Zoe?
Thanks, Linda. We have a disposal facility-based study underway to examine what we're landfilling statewide. We have another study focused on commercial edible food generators to examine what food businesses throw away. Let's start with
I apologize to interrupt you. We're having a little bit of difficulty with your audio.
No.
So I can, I have your notes here and I can take it from here. While you work on your audio. As Zoe mentioned, we have another study focused on commercial edible food generators to examine what food businesses throw away. On this first slide, we begin with the 2021 California statewide disposal facility study. The process involves segregating collected trash by material type and then using that data to help determine the composition of California's disposal stream. This study consists of 3 parts: examining trash coming into disposal facilities statewide, examining what multifamily generators are throwing away, and analyzing the moisture absorbed by specific paper types collected for part 1 of the study, thanks to the participation of landfills, multifamily housing units, and other stakeholders. CalRecycle managed contractor Cascadia Consulting began sampling sites in the Central Valley, the coastal, and then the Bay Area areas last month. Recruitment, Zoe says, is happening now for the next round of sampling in Southern California this fall. The commercial generator-based edible food waste characterization study will gather data from food industry businesses to measure edible food waste in California. This study will help track progress toward established targets set forth by Senate Bill 1383. CalRecycle managed consultant Tetra Tech is starting to recruit 18 businesses and food industry groups to participate, with sampling set for later this year. So he says we are now looking for sites to participate. Here are some of the groups that would be helpful. Participation is essentially a quick survey and allowing our field team to take a 200-pound sample from their trash and organics bins. Data will stay confidential and participating sites will receive a composition summary. You can email your waste characterization team with any recommendations for referrals. Zoe, I'm going to hand it back over to you, and hopefully we've got our audio issues worked out.
All right, do I sound better?
Yes, perfect.
Fabulous. Okay, well, Linda, thanks so much for covering that. And just a big thank you to our CalRecycle waste characterization team in the knowledge integration section and beyond, and all the jurisdictions and companies that have helped with recruitment. Without you, these studies would not be possible.
Okay, thank you so much, Zoe. We are going to move on now. Each year, CalRecycle has the responsibility to evaluate the covered electronic waste recycling fee that consumers pay on things like new TVs, computer monitors and laptops, either $4, $5, or $6, depending on screen size. Cell phones are not part of the CalRecycle program, which was established through the Electronic Waste Recycling Act of 2003. Deputy Director Matt Hedigan is back one more time for the determination of the 2021 covered electronic waste recycling fee. Matt?
Yeah, thank you so much, Linda. The covered electronic waste program is funded through a consumer fee on video display devices larger than 4 inches as measured diagonally. That money helps fund payments to approved e-waste recyclers and e-waste collectors. Maybe you've participated in one of these community e-waste collection drives yourself. I think my elementary school is doing one this week. The covered electronic waste is then dismantled in state. That's a requirement of the program. And everything that can be recycled is recycled. The rest is safely managed and by regulated end-use facilities. To date, the recycling program has helped keep more than 2.5 billion pounds of hazardous e-waste out of the environment. Under the law, CalRecycle must evaluate the electronic waste recovering and recycling account every year to make sure that the current consumer fees are sufficient to cover the payments that are made to collectors and recyclers, and also program administration. The program staff works with CalRecycle's budget office, so thank you to the budget office, to analyze trends, forecast payments, and make sure that current fees are adequate to cover costs. You can read that full analysis linked in today's agenda. Staff has recommended that the electronic waste recycling fee remain unchanged at the current rates of $4, $5, and $6, depending on the screen size, and that those rates be readopted. Upon approval, staff will work with the legal office to promulgate emergency regulations to readopt the current CEW, covered electronic waste, recycling fee levels. And this item now goes to Director Wagner for her consideration. We have one more quick mention out of our shop. California's Mattress Stewardship law requires that the director appoint members of the Mattress Stewardship Advisory Committee. CalRecycle solicited for applications and has appointed Jordan Wells, the Assistant Director of the National Stewardship Action Council, to the Mattress Advisory Council. So congratulations, Jordan, on your appointment. And thank you, Linda.
Thank you so much, Matt, for those updates. Now to California's Beverage Container Recycling Program. Each year, Californians pay nearly $1.4 billion in California redemption value deposits. More than $1 billion of that is paid out for CRV redemption. The law directs other funds towards legislatively mandated payments to support beverage container recycling. That includes city and county payments and also support for recycling centers. Chief Deputy Director Ken DeRosa joins us now with new information about those subsidies. Ken.
Very good. Thank you, Linda, and good morning, everyone. Nice to be here with all of you. So we're going to talk a little bit about some updates on handling fee payments as well as processing payments. Handling fees go to recyclers who operate in an otherwise unserved convenient zone, and the processing payments help support the recycling of materials like glass and plastic that cost more to recycle than they're worth on the scrap market. The department establishes a processing payment and a processing fee for any beverage container type that has a scrap value less than the cost of recycling. And we make processing payments to processors who then pay recyclers the entire processing payment amount. CalRecycle has discretion to adjust the processing payment every quarter if the department determines that the statewide average scrap value paid by processors for the material type for the most recent 12-month period is 5% more or less than the statewide average scrap value used as the basis for the processing payment in effect. We've conducted that analysis, and the slide shows the percentage change for glass, number one, PET, plastic, and HDPE plastic. You can see the scrap value for glass declined 25% when compared to the previous evaluation period. The scrap value for PET declined slightly, and HDPE increased by 17%. As a result, and we will be publishing these rates today, effective July 1, 2021, the processing payment for glass and HDPE will be adjusted. Glass for the course of the year will increase by about $775,000. HDPE will decline by about $300,000 for the year. PET has no adjustment as it did not meet the 5% change threshold. Now we move to handling fees paid to convenience zone recyclers. These support the recyclers to promote a wider geographic dispersal. These monies are derived from unredeemed containers, and they're intended to cover the unique costs of operating in a convenience zone. As we will publish today, effective July 1, 2021, the handling fee rate is 9.5 of a penny. This is up by 1.7% from the previous handling fee rate. And the estimated payout for the fiscal year 21-22 is $47.7 million. That's about an increase of $1 million from fiscal year 2021. And that's all I have. Linda, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ken. Before we open it up to public comments, we'd like to remind everyone this morning that you can find more information on each of the agenda items we discussed today by visiting the CalRecycle homepage, selecting public meetings, and then clicking on today's date to download the meeting agenda. And that's where you can find more in-depth information on today's items, as well as links and contact information should you have any questions. We are working to make the process easier for you, but this is how you can access that information for the time being. And on that note, let's check in real quick with Public Information Officer Christina Files to go over a few changes to CalRecycle's website this morning. Good morning, Christina.
Good morning. I'm going to share my screen here. Okay, can you see my screen?
Perfect, we can see it.
Wonderful. Okay, so can you see our website here? Sorry, I'm having some technical difficulties. Okay, so
yes.
We have some wonderful updates on our website. We and the Public Affairs Office are always taking a look at our website on how to make it more user-friendly, and we have some updates to our navigation. These are really simple updates for you, but essentially we've added a couple of new drop-down menus. So we have a new programs drop-down menu here. This will take you directly to the main program page for each of the materials that we manage, and then some of our specialty programs like our newly formed disaster debris removal program. We have a whole section of web pages on that. That now has a direct link from our homepage. We also have a direct link to our SB 1383 implementation pages here, and then the rest of these programs are likely familiar to you as well. So this program drop-down menu is eventually going to, already did replace the bottom navigation here. We also have added a few items to our recycle menu here as well, and a new drop-down get involved. This has our public meetings, meeting webcasts, our public notices, and our decisions and public participation options. These items in particular have been living over here in our left-hand navigation. And eventually we're going to retire these from this section here. We'll leave them up for a few weeks as a transition, and you'll be able to find them readily under the Get Involved. We've also added a new newsroom option here. This is going to take you to our news releases that come from our Public Affairs Office, our publications. This is all of our official reports, and then all of our graphically generated documents and signage and things like that. And then also an opportunity to sign up on our listservs as well. So these items are also partly in our left-hand navigation right now and elsewhere on our page, and they will retire from those locations in a couple of weeks. But we are hoping this makes it easier for people to get where they're going. And as always, we are looking to continually improve our website navigation. And so please feel free to provide feedback to the Office of Public Affairs. That's opa@calrecycle.ca.gov is our email address. And we look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you so much for that, Christina. Now let's send it back over to Ken and Zoe to address the public comments this morning.
Very good. Thank you, Linda. So we do have a few comments. I'm going to sort of start from the most recent one and just kind of go down there in no particular order here. We have a question from someone from NREP regarding tire pyrolysis. There's also some questions on the export of tires to Mexico and other submarkets, and any statistics about tire waste and used tire exports. What I would recommend, if I could, is our 5-year tire plan goes into some of these details. And so I would encourage you to take a look at that. I would also encourage you to reach out to me or Matt Hennigan, and we can kind of talk through some of the questions that you have. But there's quite a bit of data in that 5-year tire plan that I think will help speak to the questions that you're posing here. So thank you for that. Mark DeBee, this question falls to you. It's noted here that the Olinda Alpha landfill permit is on the June 15th public meeting agenda and on the map shown during Paulina Lawrence's segment, but was not mentioned. Will this be addressed in the next public meeting in July? Mark?
Yeah, thank you for that. And in the effort to be a little bit more efficient, Paulina was just highlighting the most recent permits that we received for action. I believe the landfill in Orange County was mentioned last month, so she just didn't reiterate it. So it's still in process and moving forward at this time. So sorry for the confusion, but the map represented all of the items in process, and then she again just gave us a summary of the ones that were new for this month.
Very good. And there's the permit map right there. Thank you. Thank you for that clarification, Mark. And thank you for the question, Dave Maxey. Zoe, did you want to take the next one from Karen at Lasso Loop Recycling?
Sure. So Karen from Lasso Loop Recycling asked, hi guys, such a great public meeting. Thank you for your work. A question for Matt. We are developing a closed loop recycling appliance for the home and plan to launch in California as our first market. How would it be best to get involved with CalRecycle and evaluate funding opportunities? Thank you.
Yeah. Well, you know, CalRecycle has some pretty robust business assistance offerings. Our grants are offered on a, not a year-round basis, but on funding availability. But we can certainly help with coordinating whatever resources the state has available now and in the future. So I'd encourage you to send me an email. Is my email online? I will reach out to you and make sure we get you plugged into our business development process so that you can take advantage of our opportunities.
Thanks, Matt. And while you're still on camera, the next question is from Chuck White, and he asks, where can I find out more info about the new Office of Innovation? Who is staffing that office? Contact information. Where is the office located in the organization?
Some very astute questions. So you can find out what has been published about the Office of Innovation is in the Budget's A pages that were released with the May revision of the governor's budget. And so that'll give you some idea of the scope and the charge of this office. And it will be located in my division, the Materials Management and Local Assistance Division. It will be an office within that division. And so the best contact information is me. And so I've got your email address. I'll drop you a line and we can continue the conversation offline. Thanks for getting in touch.
Thanks so much, Matt. And I can take this last question too, since it's a 1383 question.
Sure, and then I'll take the one that just arrived. Sounds great.
Perfect. Okay. So this question is from Evan Edgar, and the question is on SB 1383. SB 1383 programs for SLCP are a centerpiece of the many programs being reviewed for the third update of the AB 32 scoping plan process now underway at CARB for 2030 40% reduction in 2045 carbon neutral goals. How will CalRecycle participate in the AB 32 scoping plan process on delivering metrics to critical information to CARB in the upcoming modeling for 2030 and 2045? Will CalRecycle be adding the AB 32 scoping plan process in a future and ongoing CalRecycle agenda items as itself the framework for carbon neutrality by 2045 with RNG production and procurement and compost use on natural working lands? Evan, thanks so much for that question. As you know, we work very closely with ARB on a number of our shared priorities. 1383 implementation and success is certainly one of those. So we will be working closely with ARB. We'll be in touch with you on what those details look like. And thank you for your recommendation for adding information on the AB 32 scoping process to an upcoming public meeting. So more details to come on that.
Excellent. Thank you, Zoe. So the final comment that we have is from Doug from the California Product Stewardship Council, who's commenting in his role as the vice chair of the Illegal Dumping Technical Advisory Committee, also known as the IDTAC. Doug's comment is, thank you for the changes to the website and the addition of the program drop-down menu. The question is, would it be possible to add to that drop-down a link to the IDTAC webpage within the CalRecycle website? So make it easier for the public to locate those IDTAC web pages and excellent information contained therein. Thanks for the suggestion, Doug. We will take it to the team and investigate that. Appreciate the comment, appreciate the feedback. Thank you very much, and it's good to hear from you. With that, that does it for the comment portal, Linda, so back to you.
Okay, thanks so much, Ken and Zoe, for handling the public comments this morning. Also, thanks to everyone who participated in the public meeting today. We hope that you enjoy the new format designed to make communication accessible, inclusive, and as relevant as possible. Public Information Officer Lance Klug has been working very hard to compile all of this information for you this morning, so special thanks to him. We welcome your feedback. Feel free to leave us a comment on the public comment portal. We hope to reconvene here in the near future in person, but also keeping this online as well, this hybrid model, so that you have the option to log on from wherever you are. And I just got word a couple of minutes ago too, if you're looking to view those videos that we played throughout this morning, they are now available on our YouTube page, and you can also find links to them as well on the agenda. So with that, have a great rest of your morning and a great rest of your week, and we will see you back here next month.